Romans 2:28 and 29. Here beginneth the reading of God's holy word. For he is not a Jew, which is one outwardly, neither is that circumcision, which is outward in the flesh. But he is a Jew, which is one inwardly, and circumcision is that of the heart, in the spirit, and not in the letter, whose praise is not of man, but of God. The word of the Lord for the people of God. You can take your seat. And so we're drawing closer to the end of the church year with our year theme being Kingdom Restores, Kingdom Restores. And we're on the short series, this is the last sermon, a Paul moment, a Paul moment. And I want to minister from the sermon topic, the inner work, the inner work. I begin. Mankind has the propensity or tendency to be ruled by what they see. Eve in the Garden of Eden, she saw the tree, and from that seeing, took the giant leap that it was good, and she took of it. It need not matter that God told them that don't eat of that tree. Once she set her eyes on the tree, and under the evil influence of that serpent, she ate it. When she saw what she saw convinced her to disobey God. Did I say something right there? What about Samson? He was divinely blessed with supernatural strength, and this strength allowed him to conquer everything except his sight. He saw the woman from Timnath, and that was the death of him, as he now became influenced by what he saw. See, listen. Don't open the gate. Gateway drugs. Soon as you open the gate, you're going to graduate to something else. You're going to call wrong right and call evil good. And so Samson, this is what landed him in the lap of Delilah, as his disobedience to God was the death of him. Let me mention Gideon. He has 32,000 men ready to fight and was good with that. He was good with the 32,000. So dirty. When God instructed him to test the soldiers, and this resulted in the army dwindling down to less than 1/10 of what he started with, 300. He could not see. He could not see. He could not see winning. And yet, because he obeyed God, the victory was given to him. God gave him the victory. Can I park it there, church? Because if you park it at what you see, you may not see yourself being victorious. Huh? If you are influenced to a degree where you change your mind because you see something, I'm going to tell you, you are missing out on the God factor. Because the God factor deals with the unseen. It's actually what you cannot even comprehend. That's when God does what he does, you say, whoa, that's amazing. I didn't even see that coming. Anybody want to join me? I'm in an expectant mode to see what I cannot imagine. I'm just waiting with arms stretched open wide to embrace what I believe God is doing and is going to do for us. And so, yeah, he didn't see it, but God gave the victory. Come on, somebody. Then there's David, the ruddy youth, only a little David. He went to the camp to check out on his brothers, and he was bothered by the bold and boisterous giant of Gath, Goliath, who was coming against his God. It did not matter. It didn't matter to David that as he looked around and saw, there was no one ready and fit to battle this brute. So without King Saul's armor and with his stones and sling, David ran towards the giant, and with the momentum of his sight. That's one of the things I learned. I learned it from Berlin. Wherever you put your sight, that's where your bow's going. I'm helping somebody out right there. You know, you can have the strongest arm, you know, a little lightweight 12. I had a 14-pounder, 12, right? You know, strong, right? Got it all together, got the right outfit, got the right shoes on. You go down there and don't look at your mark. Keep your eye on the mark, Maria. The second arrow from the right. Yes. Girl, go ahead, girl. Just keep your eye on it. Bam! There it was right there. See, there's something about keeping your eye on the mark, right? And so David, oh yeah, all he did was keep his eye on the giant. Can I tell somebody today, I feel the Holy Spirit, keep an eye on your giant. Don't back away. Don't run away. God has given you a stern. He's given you a stern of a witness, a stern of the word of God, a stern of remembrance, a stern of what he's done for you before. Don't take your eye off your giant. David, he swung it and he slung it, and the momentum, it hit its target. David ran. He ran. What kind of madness is this? He ran towards, see, you don't want to do that. You run towards your giant. I ain't scared of you. You run towards your giant, and with the momentum of your sight, you secure victory for the Almighty God. So yeah, David swung and slung. He swung and slung the stern and struck the giant dead. Don't let the rocks cry out for you. And so, church, what am I getting you to know through this? I'm reminding you of how important our sight is. Depending on how you see, you're either going to be the victim or the victor. It's just a matter of how you see it. Every temporary defeat for me is really a part of the process to my victory. Did you get that? Every loss, every whatever all that stuff is, see, I don't even focus on it. I'm focused on ahead, my victory ahead, through the blood of Jesus, victory ahead. Trusting in the Lord, I hear the conquerors tread. By faith I see the victory ahead. See, that's what the Christian is focused on. Don't you let this world and all its shenanigans take away your faith and get so influenced by the world that you forgot that you serve a God who is not only out of this world, he made this world. Come on, somebody. And so now, of course, today, we are dealing with the Apostle Paul. He was previously Saul and had seen much in his Saul days. He was known in Rome and given certain authority. He was known by the religious leaders. They saw Saul as an ally. Can you imagine? As they both desired to get rid of the Jesus people. He was known in the land among the Gentiles, and they feared his name. So how much more the sight of him? Yet, as you well know, God took away Saul's sight so that Paul could see. As a blind man, Saul was in a place physically and emotionally that he had never been before. Don't miss it, church. God destabilizes a man who was sure of himself. Come on. I better not say that. Come on, so sure of himself. You caught that without me saying it? He ain't that comfortable and sure of himself, nah. Anyway, keep it going, see me. Keep it going, see me. See me? Stay focused, girl. I'm trying to stay apolitical. Sorry if the word a, political. I'm millennial, right? So listen. He was a victim of blindness. So now, he was vulnerable, depending on others for his next move. He was vacillating, unsure of what was going on and unsteady on his feet. As a blind person, Saul could not do what he wanted to do. He was limited as he had never been before. Already God was teaching him something that he would operate out of sight. Gotta graduate you. Hey! Oh, we've got too many politicians. They deal with data and stats and, what's the poll saying? We've got to pray that our politicians, I don't care who they are, whose party, that they graduate to operate out of sight. Yes. Come on, somebody, out of sight. In other words, this blindness was a lesson in faith. For God would have an intimate way with Saul. Take this Saul, watch this, from the legalistic language of the law to the faultless framework of faith. Faith is better than law. Faith is the upgrade. Saul would learn to walk by faith. He would not lean to his own understanding. He would have to lean on that which he had not seen before. Yet God made Saul for this moment. God, Jennifer, has made you for your upgrade. I need you to get that. Huh? Whatever your upgrade is, God made you for it. Expect it. Somebody better go expect it. Dion, expect it. Expect it. I'm always looking for upgrade. I'm expecting. God would teach him how he saw things outwardly would not matter. Why not? Because he was blind and was now stationary for the first time in his life. He would go nowhere. He could do nothing. He was, in essence, a nobody. Yet God takes him to this low place because God has a high place waiting for him. Come on, don't make. I felt a run on that myself. I just imagined myself there. Listen, sometimes you see, oh God, I'm still at this job. God, I'm still in this relationship. God, I still don't see. I'm telling you, that's your low place, but you can't operate by what you see. You got to operate, say, God, there's an upgrade for me. And God, while I'm in my low place, I'm still going to praise you. I'm still going to worship you. I'm going to thank you. I'm going to glorify you and honor your name because you got the high place for me. I may not know when, I may not know how, but I know he's going to do it. Yeah, God would teach Saul to not be limited by what he saw. God would teach Saul to become Paul, to go deeper. Go beyond the flesh. Go beyond the face. Go beyond the facts. Saul, the man of statistics, would become Paul, the man of prolific faith. Soon as people tell me, or if they tell you, oh, this ain't going to happen, and you can't, listen, I ain't telling everybody to do it, but I did it. I went to a certain place, and they said, well, this is what it is, and this is what everybody's agreeing to, the percentage. I say, yeah, they are. Well, you tell them that this is what I want. They say, well, that's not what we're doing. I said, well, you tell them that's all I'm paying. That's what I'm agreeing with. Wasn't 3 days back, ma'am, they have given you the favor of that percentage. They said, good, thank you very much. Now, I ain't going to because I'm a truthful person. I say, look at you. I'm telling them, I'm typing it. This is what I'm asking for. Because I'm figuring when whoever talks to them, they're going to say, who is this? And they're going to say, oh, this is. Now, it might be somebody overseas, don't know me, right? But I said, God, show up when they call my name. Come on, somebody. I'm just trying to tell you. God, move them. That's what your leader did. I'm going to teach somebody. So look here now. This means that Paul, would understand that no longer was he to be bothered or influenced by what he saw. No. It is not about the outward things. I'm going to help somebody. No, God is concerned about the inner things, inside things. Saul, who was focused on the working of the law, was now transformed to Paul, who was totally concerned with fulfilling the law. In other words, Paul was not focused on what you did, but who you are. Yes. Paul wanted to know, watch this, the real you. He had the first podcast, Real Nurse Real. Oh yeah, he did. The real you, oh God, who is hidden beneath the veil of flesh. The real you who is deeper than skin deep. The real you who is known by your heartbeat and not by what you say or sing. What if God is unhappy with the way we live? What if he's not pleased with all that is what's on the platter today? Was my singing recognized by the angels and delivered into the presence of the throne room of God? Was my praise? Did the angels stand there amazed that mortal being have indeed convinced themselves that they get to choose to do the right thing and they take delight in it? Jesus. It's the inner you. It's the inner you. And so listen. Saul now, he doesn't seek to impress you. Now he aims to, watch this, put others in check who are focused on the outward works. So let's join Paul today. I'm going to have fun with this. As this prolific teacher of profound truths scolds and schools the Jews. In doing so, let's cover the following 3 points. Point number 1, shh, stop it. Shh, stop it. Point 2, shh, do it. Shh, do it. And point 3, shh, see it. Shh, see it. Lord have mercy. Point number 1, shh, stop it. All right, stop it. Isn't this what God did to Saul? He stopped him. Now Paul is stopping law keepers. He is stopping them from being the most hypocritical religious leaders ever. They know the law, but the law did not know them. You see, they thought that they could quote the law and they could judge others according to the law that they themselves were actually breaking, lacking the integrity of keeping it themselves. They were like the lawyers and lodges of today. They get to rule over others while not keeping the rules themselves. Some. Verse 1, therefore thou art inexcusable, O man, whosoever thou art that judgest. For wherein thou judgest another, thou condemnest thyself. For thou that judgest doest the same things. Paul begins the 2nd chapter of Romans slamming. He holds nothing back. He does not excuse wrong. How about that? With all the wrong that he did, he now does not excuse wrong. That's right. For once, here we go now, once God does a work in you, you can now live according to God's plumb line, God's standard, and now you get to correct others. See? That this whole, anytime, church, somebody tells you, you shouldn't judge, tell them, Romans chapter 2. Shh. Romans chapter 2. This whole chapter is about the fact that, you can judge, but you better just make sure you ain't doing it, dodo bird. He lets them know that they are inexcusable. Let's look at this word inexcusable, coming from the Greek word anapologetos. Anapologetos. Without defense or excuse. You don't have a defense, Jews. You don't have an excuse. What is Paul saying in verses 1 through 12? Paul is saying that God has given his only begotten son There is no more reason or even reasonable excuse for the Jews to place the law above grace or to live in law at the expense of grace. Paul is clear. You know why? Because he had the experience. Paul, now having had the experience and been transformed from the place of law to the place of grace, can say, he can strike the gavel down. I've been perfect in the law. I've been without reproach in the law. I was on the right side of the law. I kept the law perfectly. Try to spot my life. The tribe of Benjamin, Hebrew of an Hebrew, as keeping the law perfect, touching the law. I was zealous. I was keeping the law. But one day I had an experience, and all that was in my power, according to the law, I've got to lay it down, because I met the greater than the law. I met Jesus Christ. And the moment that you meet Jesus, I'm going to tell you now I can tell you because I'm so bright, the law will never be perfect and you'll never keep it perfectly. How do I know? I will see. So anybody today that tells you they keep the law perfectly is a liar. God used the Apostle Paul to show that this perfect man who had a perfect record of keeping the law and zealous after the law was not right. And he had to be changed. Paul is saying that the Jews had laid down the gavel against. The Jews would come in the sight of Saul. And Saul would say, Gentiles, what are you even being here? You don't even get to make it here. Persecute them. They're trying to keep the law. They have no ability to keep the law because we are the higher group, the law keepers. That's why God had to take him down. People that live a life were better than you, head up, certain way, dress a certain way, have a certain oh no, you've got to no, that's wrong. No, this is what we must. There's people. Put the gavel on them. Put the gavel on them. Because they ain't keeping no law perfectly. They ain't even keeping the peace perfectly. And so Paul is saying that the Jews had laid down the gavel against the Gentiles. Well, they are wrong. They are guilty. They are lost. That's what they were saying. They were saying, all these Gentiles want to be like us. They do not keep the law, and therefore they cannot have the same relationship with God as we do. As a matter of fact, Paul is saying that Jews are saying that the Gentiles will never make it to God. Hear it clearly. Paul understood as Saul that the Gentiles, you'll never make it to God because you'll never be a Jew. For Gentiles operate outside of the law. Jews consider Gentiles outlaws. Paul says that Gentiles are in grace. That's right. He said it like that. Somebody said that's right. Oh, Jennifer, God, that sounded good. I was like, ooh, that was. Jews consider Gentiles outlaws. Paul says that Gentiles are in grace. Yeah, I'm an outlaw. Listen to verses 6 through 11. Just going to read them. Who will render to every man according to his deeds? To them who by patient continuous in well-doing seek for glory and honor and immortality, eternal life. But unto them that are contentious and they do not obey the truth, but obey unrighteousness, indignation and wrath, tribulation and anguish upon every soul of men that doeth evil, of the Jew first and also of the Greek. But glory, honor, and peace to every man that worketh good, to the Jew first and also to the Gentile. For there is no respect of persons with God. Paul is clear. Listen to me. It is not who you are. It is what you do. It is not your title. It is what you do. A lot of people got titles. Ain't doing a squat of thing with the title as they should. It is not your position. It is what you do. I don't care what title you want. I'll give you the title. It doesn't make you the thing. It's what you do. I'm not looking for title. I'm looking for servants. I'm looking for what you do. Because that's what Paul was looking for. Stop being impressed with a title. By now we should know. It don't matter the title. It's what you do. The Jews were focused on outward things that could only be done by Jews. Hear me. Paul, this is beautiful right here. Paul, now having been schooled by Jesus Christ, recognizes, watch this, John 3:16. It reads, for God so loved the Jews. God, just making sure you're paying attention. Like if they miss this, I'm starting the whole sermon over. All right, here we go. John 3:16. For God so loved the that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in, I'm so glad just a minute that I'm a part of the whosoever, that in the foundation of the world, before the world was framed, that God saw me. He saw Maria. He saw you. He saw Nancy. He saw Arlene. He saw Maxine. He saw Kelly. He saw Daniel. He saw us. And he said, I'm coming for them. Oh, they're not in the plan yet. Hold on to the new covenant. Your new covenant is coming. And I'm sending my son to establish a new covenant, because in my new covenant, you're coming in. You're coming in. You're coming in. That whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Listen, if you don't know Jesus Christ, you're not having everlasting life. You're going to perish. But look, John 3:16, it's about everybody, the Jew and the Greek, Gentile. Hence, God is no respecter of persons. Moves me to point number 2. Do it. Now, here's the big issue with God and Jews. Here's a big issue with God and the Jews. Oh, gonna help them today. Sing amen. Sing amen. The big issue, don't miss it. It's the Jews. I'm going down the alley again because I want to make sure we all get it. The Jews are impressed. They're impressed with the package. With the picture. I need you to get it. This impresses them. I got to confess, I've had this because I saw it. I said, ooh, bruschetta. I said, Maria used to have them in the restaurant when we were going. So I'm in the grocery store, right? I crawl across this. I see it. I say, oh, I can do it like that restaurant does it, because I'm a chef. That's about 2 months ago. Still, I'm just confessing, because I was impressed with the package. I said, boy, you get that tomato and you Google it, I'm going to YouTube it. I'm still going to YouTube it, because now I'm confessing to everybody, right? I say, yeah, you do it up nice, right? And you got to decide what you're going to have with it. It could be spaghetti, it could be fish, it could be anything you want, right? But you're going to have it. It impressed me so much. And it's still impressing me, because I'm telling you this story. Then, don't tell Jana Maria. I say, oh, yeah. I'm going to make some shrimp fried rice. And I go and I see oyster sauce. I say, yeah. As soon as I see it, right? I say, I don't think I'm got any harm. So in seeing it, I yield to it. I buy it. Then I go home and I discover I've got 3. I'm just like those Jews. I'm influenced. I'm just trying to. Now, you didn't need me to go down the street of him and her, right? Being influenced by what you saw, right? But anyway, it's the package. It's the package, right? The Jews are focused on the package, the picture. The picture, it's the picture. Woo! God is saying, no, that's you. That's the outward. He said, what I need you to do, yeah, you got it, church, is focus on the inside. In other words, you got to go and read now. Ain't nothing attractive about reading about the calories. How much sodium and protein. Then how you got to do it if you're going to do it on the traditional stove, on the microwave. And my thing is, who goes and does it in the microwave? That's like escapism. So I'm only allowed to read the stovetop ingredients. God is saying, don't be impressed by what you see. Get to know who they are on the inside. Because God is not going to judge us by our hat, by our suits, by how professional we think we are, how clean we think we are. No. God said, no, I will open up the package and see who you are. And so we have the Jews. They said, oh, we're clean. God said, no, I'm going to open you right up. We're going to see who you are. Because you're there judging the Gentiles. And don't you do the same thing? So your package might look good, but you're full of stuff. Full of stuff. Yeah. And so the issue is that they are focused on what it should look like. You know, we all see it. You say, oh yeah, I can see that on my table, in the plate, and you see it. We're focused on that. We don't understand the process that we got to go through of what it will be to get it to what it should look like. Let me tell you something, church. God looks at the ingredients. God looks at the inside. God values what is inside that will influence what is outside. Listen to me. If what outside, the final outcome, doesn't even match the picture, you just showed me who you really are. It's what you do. God desires integrity, one of my favorite words. It don't matter if I've got to stand alone. I will be who I have always been. The outcome doesn't determine the ingredients. It is the ingredients that determines the outcome. That's who you are. I just had to put the stove up at the right temperature, and that's who you are. You're going to be cooling out. You know, some items say you can keep them out on the counter, but the moment that you open them, put it in the fridge, right? How do you handle the ingredients? When somebody puts you under a hot temperature, put you in wrong company, put you in company that's doing things that you ought not do, how do you do it? So listen here. You can place a pretty picture there. That does not determine whether you will produce the picture. No. You must have the right ingredients and follow the right instructions to get the right results. Let's quickly look at verses that Paul speaks to the Jews about the hypocrisy of theirs. Verse 12. For as many as have sinned without law shall perish without law, and as many as have sinned in the law shall be judged by the law. Shh! Stop it, Jews, stop it. They don't live by the law and can be lost, and you live in the law and are lost. See, they may be lost. You are lost in the law. Verse 13, for not the hearers of the law are just before God, but the doers of the law shall be justified. So Paul is saying that while the Jews hear and understand the law, the professionals, that's the picture of the product. You see, unless you've been in a meeting with me, you've probably just seen the picture. I know the ingredients. I know that's right. Woo! And they are not doing the law. Doing the law is the ingredients. Ain't gonna change. Church, in verses 17 through 24, the Apostle Paul places the Jews and their law on the witness stand, and I dare say that after they have given a stellar testimony, he cross-examines them with the precision of a master surgeon. I wanted you to really hear what he's saying clearly, so I want to read these verses in a more down-to-earth version. This is the CEV, Contemporary English Version. Listen to it, 17 through 24. Listen. Some of you call yourselves Jews. You trust in the law and take pride in God. By reading the scriptures, you learn how God wants you to behave, and you discover what is right. You are sure that you are a guide for the blind and a light for all who are in the dark. And since there is knowledge and truth in God's law, you think you can instruct fools and teach young people. But, come on now, talk to me. But how can you teach others when you refuse to learn? You preach it is wrong to steal, but do you steal? You say people should be faithful in marriage, but are you faithful? You hate idols, yet you rob the temples. Woo. You take pride in the law, but you disobey the law and bring shame to God. It is just as the scriptures tells us. You have made foreigners say insulting things about God. In other words, when those of us who are Christians do wrong, then we give the world an excuse to say that Christianity is not real and it's fake. So we've got to be people of integrity. Know where you are, know what you stand on, and stay there. Shh, stop it, Jews, stop it. When God looks inside of you, the inner you, God sees the real deal. You are demanding that others do not sin, while there are those of you doing the exact same sin you call them out on. The hurtful part is that when the Gentiles or heathen or sinners look to the religious folks, they can testify that they are as clean as church people. See, that's a problem right there. I'm just as good as you all. Really? Let it never be said of you that you are doing what you are saying others ought not do. Just respect the pastor, love the pastor, treat the pastor. Okay, whatever. Point 3. Shh. See it. Shh. Let me read verses 25 through 29. For circumcision verily profiteth, if thou keep the law. But if thou be a breaker of the law, thy circumcision is made uncircumcision. Paul's telling them off, you know. He said, I know you're cheating on your wife. I know you're an idol worshiper. So you broke the whole law. So you're screaming against the Gentiles. You're a Gentile too. Paul's telling them off, 26. Therefore, if the uncircumcision keep the righteousness is the key word, keep the righteousness of the law, shall not his uncircumcision be counted for circumcision? And shall not uncircumcision, which is by nature, if it fulfill the law, judge thee, who is by the letter and circumcision does transgress the law? You're cut, but you're full of nonsense. For he is not a Jew, which is one, that's my main verse where I'm going to. For he is not a Jew, which is one outwardly. Neither is that circumcision, which is outward in the flesh. But he is a Jew, get ready for it now, which is one inwardly. And circumcision is that of the heart, in the spirit, and not in the letter, whose praise is not of man, but of God. See, if you're really praising God, you'll be all right. Circumcision, everybody say circumcision. I said I would have fun with this, because you know, trying to put Jews on trial, trying to look the part, but does not depart. God says, you all Jews are of the circumcision. So your male organ, because you're a Jew, got the cut. All the blood. When you were 8 days old, and they rolled it back. I'm going to take my time with it. Because we can just look at you and tell you're a Jew. Remember Moses in the ark, bulrushes? When? Pharaoh's daughter looks at, he's a Jew. He had proof. There is an outward witness. You're clean. There's nothing hidden in us. We are of the circumcision. Paul said you're cut, but you're sleeping around on your way. You're a law keeper, but you're doing the things that the law of Moses says you ought not do. But it's the picture for you. That's what matters to you. And God is trying to say, whether you're cut or not, doesn't matter. It's what's on the inside has your heart. So let's just use a different one. I haven't used it on my foot, so I said I might as well cut it. God says, you're a Jew in the spirit now if your heart is circumcised. So this is your heart now. Okay, let me fist it up a bit better. Heart. God says, because I'm looking, takes work in it. Cut that heart back, yeah. Process. The heart. Because out of the heart, the mouth speaks. Out of the heart flows the issues of life. So are you living or not? God looks at your heart. Church, stop being impressed by what people look like. Ask God, watch this, and this is what hit me this morning as I ponder. Ask God to have you to have a discerning heart. So no matter what they look like, well, no, that's the heart one. I got to go back to the organ. So, uncircumcised or circumcised. The Bible says, listen now, you can be a Jew or a Greek, a Gentile. God says, I'm not impressed with the package. Lord, have mercy. Huh? I don't care how tall, how small, how brilliant, how you speak. Who cares? It's what you do. And all you have to do is put a person under a certain pressure. That's all. Mind your business. Keep on doing God's work, because while God is, watch this, while God is testing them, he's testing you, me. Because we're not to rejoice at others when they fall or when they go another way. We're to say, God, help me to have a circumcised heart. Help me to have the mind of God. Help me to know that, guess what? But for the grace of God, there go I. It's your grace that keeps me from sinning. It's your grace that keeps me straight. It's your grace that causes me to stand. It's your grace that I can bear witness that Jesus Christ is Lord. So I ain't going to be concerned about what you're doing, except as it pertains directly to me. I'm going to pray for you, but I'm also going to say, God, all I need is a little bit more grace. I need grace to run this race so that when somebody looks at me, it's more than what they see. They say something about them. People, when they say it's something about you, it ain't about what you look like. They're saying it's a spirit. It's something else going on. It's something about your presence. And it makes a difference when God has circumcised pulled back the covering of your heart. Open heart surgery. God, the master cardiologist, He'll clear every pathway. He'll make it so that you praise and you worship. You glorify God. Do I have anyone in this church? And you say, Pastor, my heart has been circumcised by the blood of Jesus Christ because of what He did on the cross of Calvary. I worship, I praise, I worship and honor God because I have received the cut of circumcision by God's Spirit for my heart. And church, this is amazing because this is a man. Paul is saying this, but he bragged about the fact, Hebrew of an Hebrew, from the tribe of Benjamin, circumcised the 8th day. God let him know, I don't care what day you've been circumcised. I want to know when I came into your heart, when I pulled back the folds of your heart, every vessel, every bit of things that might have hindered, every bit of growth and interruption, everything that was keeping you away from God's presence. God said, have I pulled that back? So hear me. Every Jewish male, this is fun here. Every Jewish male that had passed through the womb has been circumcised. The circumcision is a witness that they are sealed to the law of Moses unto God. Yet here in the new covenant, God has sent His Son Jesus Christ to be the circumcision. That it was Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. He took the ultimate cut to do away with sin. The circumcision knife was the spear that pierced His side, causing the flow of blood and water to leave His body as a witness of the blood of humanity and the water of the Holy Spirit, birthing forth the new covenant unto God by Jesus Christ. That's why we've got to lift up the name of Jesus. He did it all. The Jews refused to move from the law, and hence were consenting to crucifying Jesus Christ. Don't do that. Don't crucify Him. Yet the most perfect law keeper, Saul, now Paul is letting them know that, see it, circumcision cannot save you. See it, you must be righteous to be saved. You must be right with God. See it. It is not what you do on the outside that counts. It is who you are on the inside that matters. See it. God is no longer desirous that for the sake of religion, you circumcise your males. It's time for relationship. Now, the Jew and the Greek, the free and the bond, the male and the female can be circumcised. For while the female does not have a male organ, let me say that again. Again, help those that fluid and want to go all over the place. Let me say it again. Listen to me. A born female, an XX genetically, is born without a penis. What happened? You know, what was wrong with you doctors? What you have, you just pull back. Shakande, Holy Ghost. God just told me he did a circumcision moment. He said, what you have? He said, it's a boy. He just pulled it back. Now today they got x-rays and whatnot, and some of them don't know what it is. If it's a penis, it's a boy. If it's no penis, it's a girl. What's wrong with you people? So understand this. Under the old covenant, the males were circumcised as a witness. In the new covenant, because now it's about the heart, the males have got a heart, the females have got a heart, all God's children got a heart, so we all can be circumcised. Church, God is looking at your heart. That's the inner you. That's the truth of the matter. This is the organ that must be circumcised, cut back, so that what is within is clearly seen. We've got to ask God, search me. Try me. Know me today. See if there be any wicked way in me. Driving down saying, yeah, Maria, I'm still trying to debate if I was a sinner, would I be a mean, like a tycoon mean sinner? Or would I be a nice sinner? I don't know. I just want to thank God I'm not. Huh? Unless the inner you, the inner me is seen and examined, we cannot have clean hands to see others and to direct others. You think that God would have Christians on the earth, his children, so they could say nothing, not say nothing to nobody, and just let them all go to hell? What kind of sense that made? Sometimes I don't even fuss with people because it's just plain stupidity and ignorance. A loving God wants everyone saved. He wants everyone to go to heaven, but the only way that you can do it is through his son, Jesus Christ, because his son, Jesus Christ, took the cut. Open up what more can he do? What more can he do? He has laid the foundation, opened up the way. Come on. What more can he do? That's the salvation of grace through the cut. Opened up. Come on. Then he circumcised the temple, the holy place. Huh? Veil, tore it back. Like, matter of fact, he did like almost like a Samson thing. Enter in. Now you all can enter in. Huh? Now you understand that it's not about this person versus that person. Everybody. And so listen, I'm winding down, but just a minute. Watch this now. That's why we must know God's word. Oh, this right here. If not, there are those religions that will teach you that homosexuality is right when the Bible calls it an abomination. If not, you will yield to the Pharisaic religions that have now decided that a certain lifestyle is acceptable by them and therefore it is okay with God. Did you hear me? They decided, they changed their mind and think that they have the power to influence God. The devil is a liar. Oh, the creature cannot tell the creator what to do. The creator is still the creator. You can't go back and create the world. We can't make something. Stand up for me, superintendent. Put your hands out. Palms. Y'all good person. Let me see if you can make something out of nothing. Exactly. Take your own seat. Sit down. You have no authority to change the word of God. The word of God is forever settled in the heavens. So you can call your sanctuary whatever you want to call it. I'm going to tell you that if God is not invited there, if he's not welcome there, and if he wouldn't stay there, it's only a sanctuary leading to hell. What? So the wrong, that lifestyle, is not acceptable and it's not okay with God. Now be careful of the modern day Pharisees who want you to see it their way instead of God's way. I do not care that they are having a social for young people of that lifestyle. They are wrong. Make sure your grandchildren ain't going there losing their minds. You better guard your children. See, I must say it because I've got to say it until God tells me to stop saying it. You think they care that the bill was turned back and that it's no marriage? They said, no, we got a few back doors. And what we're going to do is change the culture of Bermuda. So while they're always worrying about who the next leader is going to be, they could care less. They will change Bermuda into another place and they will have run of Bermuda. Why? The churches are silent. The politicians are fighting each other about who's going to be the next leader. Meanwhile, we're having a social over here, and we're a white church, but we're having a black speaker, because you blacks will be convinced. Don't play with me. And we want to be so free. We want to be free to do wrong and free to go to hell. Ain't two heavens. And the heaven I'm going to does not permit any sin. Homosexuality, adultery, fornication, idol worship. None of those things can make it into heaven. Why do you think we gather to learn God's word? It's holiness or hell. And so they are wrong, I'm telling you. And this will only lead, and this is the part that makes me mad, this will only lead to circumcision of the heart being revealed that is not after God and leading them to an eternity in hell. They are marching our children to hell through the doors of a house they call a church. See, that, I'm got too much fight right there. Right there. Not my child. Not my nieces. I better not find out my nieces or nephew or great nieces or nephew. What? You're going to be arguing right there. A house call, more than a chat. You're going to be more than a chat. You did what? You did what? Has that lifestyle helped our relatives, any of our relatives? It's made our, basically, watch this now, you have to catch this in the spirit realm. It's made our males of our family sterile without going under a knife. See, we want to be strong. Come on, am I talking, church? How do you destroy a people? Huh? How do you destroy them? Make the males sterile. Let them take drugs, kill themselves. Let them drink to death, smoke to death. But don't let them come and get circumcised hearts. Oh, my God, don't let them come into the house and change. Oh, no. Give them empowerment and make them think that they have a voice, that they now can speak for a certain lifestyle. What? All you've done is sterilize our males without them going under a knife. You have spiritually sterilized them in their minds. That's what's going on. And you think I'm just going to play tic-tac-toe? No. These are the things that I think about. That's why Pastor stays and ponders on her heart a lot. That's why I can't have my energy where it ought not be. I just look at some people and say, okay, my energy's got to be, because this is what we're fighting. Oh, now, little boys, I've got some commercials to do. You think that Bermuda in 10 years won't have an after-school Satan program? Right. You think that? Okay. Remember, America sneezes, we get pneumonia. We're going way past the cold, way past the flu, even past COVID, pneumonia. Right? Talking about circumcision. We've got to be circumcised, church. They ought not be comfortable in Shekinah Worship Center, but get them here. Some people, I meet up with people, a construction worker, not even about color. He had my mask on, recognized me. He said, yeah, I watch your channel. I said, you do? He said, you tell it like it is. I said, yeah, that would be me. We cannot be weary in well-doing. Don't you get tired. We got souls to win. We're living during evil times when many will try to rewrite the Bible. They're trying to rewrite. Take this to another level. What Paul said. What Paul wrote 2/3 of the New Testament. Established churches. The brother was so bad, he even managed the churches while in jail. That's a level there. Send for me Timothy. Bring John Mark, his go up right now, in jail. You think God's changing the word for you, for me, for my relative I love because they think that they're female and they're sissified and all that? You think God changed his word for Sodom and Gomorrah? If they are going to be God's children, we have to be holy, righteous, and wise. Others that are against God's word, they love the package. Oh, they loved that they had that service at that church. Oh, we've been invited. Really? Are they still going? I ask myself questions, and because I didn't fuss about it. I say, I want to know if they're reading the Bible every day. Doubt it! Because then they will read and change. One service. They are deceived. Church, keep your heart with all due diligence. Yes, that when God rolls back the covering of your heart, he sees a reflection of himself, a reflection of the word of God.